Welcome to Game Changers live from Miami, Florida. My name is Sergio Tigera. I'm your host. And each and every week, we bring you someone who has been a game changer in their field and who's touched the lives of thousands to get their perspective on their journey, their mindset, their struggles and successes so that we can inspire you on your journey. So let's get started right now.
And welcome to Game Changers Live. My name is Sergio Tigera. You can catch us each and every week on your favorite podcast stations, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube as well, or anywhere you catch it. We're here each and every week with leaders who have been game changers in their field. And this week, we're talking to Gianni D'Alerta. I'm going to introduce him here. We're going to be talking about NFTs, and that's a subject that is very popular right now, but very misunderstood. And people are asking, what are NFTs? What can I do with them? What's the future of this technology? So welcome, Gianni, to Game Changers, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And he's repping the Game Changer swag, the new Game Changer swag that we came out with. So you definitely get one since you are a Game Changer guest. And so Gianni's been working in technology, branding, and marketing for more than 20 years, beginning his career during the first .com boom at one of Miami's first ISPs. Gianni's insatiable curiosity drew him to the blockchain industry in 2013, where he was a founding member of Ethereum. In 2017, he worked alongside Ethereum's founder, Anthony Di Iorio, and Decentral Jaxx as the director of marketing, leading the organization's global branding initiatives. And early in his career, D'Alerta was an early employee of the gaming hardware company Alienware, which we all know. He created the iconic identity seen by millions today. Today, you can find him helping businesses with their blockchain and marketing strategies at Naka, tinkering with a number of NFT projects, including helping the city of Miami, Mayor Suarez and Venture Miami on blockchain initiatives. So, Gianni, awesome career, man. You've done a lot in that space. Congrats on your success. So tell me about the Alienware. So you helped design that?
Yeah, so in the first .com boom, right, I had 3 months in one job. And then that died. And then another 3 months on another one, that died. But that set the cap of my my salary, where Alienware was hiring at the time. And funny enough, I would always pick up the PC gaming magazines and see the specs of their computers and just like dream of owning one of those. And then I end up applying and getting the job. And I was an art director, basically, and helped redesign the website at the time, which I did a really cool thing where it took like Salt Lake, like a Nevada kind of like desert scene, and just put like a little tiny alien kind of, UFO in the background in the mountains, and then the ominous black PC case that they had at the time on the sand. And they had a generic logo that they were using. They were just buying off the shelf kind of like little emblems to put on their computers. Thought we need to change this up, because if anybody ever sees the sketches of people's alien heads, they kind of have more an ominous kind of looking thing. So I changed it up, and that's what was used. And I remember working there. I had a desk in their warehouse where the desk was literally falling apart.
Oh my gosh.
It was falling apart. And I did that for a year, and then I left actually to work for Coral Gables company called Luminaire, because I wanted to understand how to sell, or what high design looked like. I took a very strong pay cut to go work for that company, but I wasn't satisfied looking at the logo that I had created and all the magazines being a little bit butchered. So I reapplied, and the department that I had that had started with 2 or 3 people had grown to 10. So now I wasn't the boss anymore, but I was very happy to have been part of that then, and in those both occasions, and still good friends with many of the founders and people that were involved with that company.
And in 2013, then tell me about the Ethereum project. How did you get involved with that? And tell me a little bit of that history, because obviously Ethereum is one of the most well-known, cryptocurrencies out there, obviously. And so tell me about what that was like. And back in 2013, nobody knew, for the most part, anything about crypto. They didn't even know what crypto was. So tell me a little bit about that. How'd you get involved?
So it was actually a connection through Alienware. There was one of the guys that worked for Alienware. He went to work for this VDI, which is virtual desktops. And to do virtual desktops in a server environment, you had to have GPUs. GPUs, when not in utilization, were being used for mining Bitcoin at the time. There weren't any kind of standalone devices or anything. So this guy kind of mentioned it to me, and I was like, "What the hell is this? Virtual money? What the hell's a Bitcoin?" But there wasn't a lot of information, so it's kind of hard to kind of, where do I buy it? How do I get to it? I wasn't a finance guy either, so even more challenging to like wrap my head around it. And that was like when Bitcoin was at like $30. Okay. Now we're in the past $40,000, $50,000 range, teetering every so often. But then,
so back then, did you have any idea where this was going with blockchain and cryptocurrency?
Completely disregarded it. Then around 2013 November was when Silk Road got busted, right? And I wasn't very interested in the drug part of it. What I was interested in was this money part of it. Or using Bitcoin as a means to bond themselves. Yeah, not only transact, but actually bond themselves. They were bonding themselves on these platforms because who are you going to trust selling drugs? They had to bond themselves to kind of, put their money where their mouth was to kind of like sell on these platforms. So that just led me down some rabbit holes, like what we call in crypto. When you talk about things, we talk about rabbit holes, deep dives and things. And there was one forum that was very popular at the time called Bitcoin or Bitcoin Talk, or I think it was Bitcoin Talk or Talk Bitcoin or one of those things. It was a forum, and just a lot of conversations, a lot of projects, a lot of like clones of Bitcoin were being put out there, which were not what we see now with Ethereum and tokens, but they were just coins that people were just launching and projects that people were launching and conversations and whatnot. And I thought, I can't do anything, right? Because I can code, but I'm not to the coding extent that you would have needed to have been in that time frame. So I remember actually putting a JPEG of a repeating background of Bitcoin and snowflakes, and I said, here's some wrapping paper. You guys can print it out and wrap it for all the crypto crap that you guys are going to buy for your families because you're all rich. And I put my little Bitcoin address there, and someone sent me $50 worth of Bitcoin, and I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of interesting." The guy's like, "Oh, I tipped you." I'm like, and then I look at my account, it's like, "Oh, it's $50 worth of Bitcoin. This is really, really interesting." And so the New Year's of that time, I decided to say, "What can I do?" And so I launched this website called 51 Attack, and 51% is kind of like the thing that would basically, if you wanted to attack a blockchain, you would have to have 51% of the power of the network to attack the network and kind of do that. So I thought it was a play on words. I launched this website, and basically it was a t-shirt company where I was doing kind of like a grunge look Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all these other shirts, and basically sold them on an e-com site using a platform called coinpayments.net, which allowed me to accept 47 different cryptocurrencies at the time. And then I would auto trade them to Bitcoin on this now defunct exchange that was out of Daytona called Crypsy. If anybody's listening, want to go down that rabbit hole, finding out what Crypsy was, they have a colored past. But I sold about $6,000 or $7,000 worth of shirts within a couple months. I learned a lot about finance because of that, because I would accept crypto that was like not very liquid. I didn't even know what the term liquid was. I didn't know what.
Right. So that's my question. So you're involved in the space. You start getting this digital currency that you can't use anywhere, but you're funding your t-shirts with real money, real dollars, and you're saying, okay, how am I going to get compensated for this? And that's probably, that's one thing where I think a lot of people are still hung up on. It's, what do I do with this code? Is it worth anything? Obviously it is now, but it's still not very common for people to feel comfortable enough to use it on a day-to-day basis, right?
Well, in that regard, it was my experiment to showcase that I could do a business that never touched fiat currency or normal government currencies. And so it would exchange to Bitcoin. I went on Reddit. I found someone in California that would print the T-shirts with Bitcoin, and I remember walking down from my daytime job and kind of sending him like $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, like instantaneous, like over the phone. Hey, did you get it? Yeah, I got it.
Wow.
Really cool. And then what did I do with the Bitcoin? Right? Did I use it for other things? At the time, there was a gift card company called Gift, GYFT, and you would be able to use your Bitcoin, right, and get gift cards. So I was able to go shopping.
Oh,
Do all this
nice.
thing. So I was able to completely do this business like that. And because of that thing and the network that I was creating and the friendships I was creating on Twitter, of all places, because I really didn't understand also how to use Twitter. Twitter was a place that I thought you just kind of like blog about your life, but really it was a place where you converse with other people that shared interest, right? And
Mm.
so there's these guys in the Bitcoin Center in New York, and I connected with one on Facebook, and I realized that he was a Miami guy because he was connected with a bunch of friends and had gone to Palmetto High. And so one Friday afternoon, he sends me a message and says, "Hey, I'm at the Ethereum house, and they need some help with T-shirts. Do you think you can help them?"
Yeah.
Probably not within 24 hours, but hell yeah, I'm going to go to Ethereum House because, and not many people knew what Ethereum was, but I was reading Bitcoin Magazine. I knew about Vitalik because Vitalik was writing articles or just about just general Bitcoin, crypto um, topics. And so I went, and I was, if somebody looks up my Instagram account and can look for 2014 around that time, you'll see I have a picture there that's literally like I said, it's like I feel like I'm in the garage with like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. All the characters were there. I actually wrote there.
Wow.
I'm watching I'm witnessing history unfold.
But
And
did you realize that at the time?
yes,
Or
I
yeah?
no, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was going to be something very, very big. And what was very powerful for me is I became friends with everybody. Um, Everybody was very welcoming, and just the ethos of the whole crypto thing. The next day there was the Bitcoin conference where they announced it. Vitalik comes off stage, and he was just sworn by people, and it was like another reinforcement of like this is going to be huge. There's going
Those
to
are
be
gonna
something
be huge, yeah.
really important that's going to occur from here. And I really connected with Anthony Di Iorio, who was one of the co-founders. He flew me to Toronto to the first Bitcoin conference that they had ever had. It was huge. I was able to sit at a gala with Vitalik and his dad, and just kind of like witness this historic thing happening. Right. So, you know, that's the historic aspect of that time frame, and what got me hooked, basically.
Wow. Being in the right place at the right time and with an open enough mind to be thinking about the potential that something like this has,
Hmm.
it makes all the difference in the world, right? Because you were in there at a very early stage. You had the vision to see, okay, what this can be. So I think about the early internet, right? Back in the, let's
Yeah.
say early 90s, when email was coming out. I don't know when exactly came out, but I remember watching the Today Show and them saying, okay, what is email? Like, what is this internet, and what are we going to do with it? Right? There was such a lack of understanding of the potential of it, and I think we're at a similar kind of crossroads now with blockchain, and we're in the very, very early stages, and something like, let's talk about NFTs. Very few people understand. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is an NFT? How does it work on the blockchain with smart contracts and ownership and stuff like that? So let's talk about that.
So, and actually, really interesting, just a little side note, which will
Yeah.
lead to further conversations about NFTs and what I've been doing more recently, is that at that event, while they were there in this kind of house talking about it, they asked
Yeah.
what would the blockchain or the Ethereum do to the world, and I said I thought it would be something that would help the people from the country where my parents were from Cuba, right? And so fast forward to today, and we'll get into the aspect of what I'm doing with Cuba, but NFTs are a fantastic cultural phenomenon that's basically engaging people to interact with the blockchain, right? So it's not just
Mm.
cryptocurrencies and collecting cryptocurrencies and trying to be like a financial person or guru, but
Hmm.
really it was using a new asset to get people engaged, right? And it wasn't created for that purpose. It was just an evolution of what's next. And so the people that are listening, what is an NFT? An NFT is a non-fungible token. A fungible token is like a 25 cents or a dollar bill, right? I like to explain it like I could take a dollar bill and go buy a Coke, at a store, either here or in, Europe or anywhere, and they're going to accept
Hmm.
that because a dollar has value, because it's understood, it's a government currency. But now I go and Sergio signs it, and Sergio becomes this celebrity, right? Now a dollar bill is not worth a dollar bill anymore. Now it's worth maybe a couple $100, maybe hopefully $10,000. Who knows,
Yeah.
right? Or the dollar has an imperfection, right? Like people
Yeah.
collect those imperfections as collectors, as human beings. We love to collect these scarce things, and so
Hmm.
that's how something can be fungible and something non fungible. Non fungible items are like pictures. Non fungible items can be baseball cards, assets like the title of your home. Those are all kind of like non fungible things. They're very unique. There's like it's very specific of one. So that's
Hmm.
what a non-fungible is.
Now, if you have what I hear a lot from people is that, okay, I have a digital file. The problem has always been traditionally that those digital files can be copied, right? And then how do you retain ownership when there's copying? And that's what the blockchain allows you to do with a smart contract. It defines, just like the deed to your house, that you are the owner, right?
Correct.
And I was watching a great TED talk that our friend Saif posted. Forgot the name of the gentleman, but what he was talking about was the fact that information wants to flow freely, right? We don't want to contain information. Where in the real world, a deed to our house, it creates a sense of privacy. Like, you can't enter. This is my house. This is my deed. Whereas on the internet and the blockchain, it's inverse, right? Yeah, you own it, but the more it's out there, the more popular it gets, the more eyes see it, the more value then it can garner because it's more popular, right? And then you
It
can then
it could
sell it and
have
so forth.
value or no value, right? Just like crypto could have value or no value. Our dogs don't care if Bitcoin is $1 or $10,000, right? They don't.
Hmm.
That's a construct of our own human existence
Yeah.
where we give it value. But in the aspect of an NFT is really what you said. It's a deed. It's like it's a file that basically says, okay, I could take a picture of our call right now, and it's what are we talking? It's Game Changers Live with Gianni D'Alerta, right? And equals there's a source file that equals the image that if you ever did a website or you ever did something HTML, there's a source that equals the image, and the browser can read that source file and say, okay, here's the file, here's what it's named, this is where it's pointing to. It's on this database somewhere. The database could be in the blockchain, the database could be on a server, but it's basically the deed to that asset. And that asset, a digital file, could be an image, could be an audio file, could be a video file, could be a 3D file, a PDF, whatever, right?
Hmm.
So basically, what I'm doing is notarizing that I was the first to create that file, right? Or basically notarize it on the blockchain, because I can create a bunch of files, but it's not really notarized. Nobody, it's not really
Hmm.
stamped and connected to me through my wallet. And my wallet is where I'm able to sign it and say Gianni or this address was the one that minted this, created it. And then if I want to send it to you, then you would give me your address. I would send it to you. And now there's a provenance in the blockchain that shows, this address had
A
it this
record. Yeah.
day. And then I would send it to this day. And there could be some exchange of money in regards to that transfer.
Right. So when the common person is trying to understand this, so essentially you can make an NFT out of just about anything that you can
Anything
create a
digital.
digital file for, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, you can take a snapshot of this and create it. And there is a cost to minting, right? That has you in the past has been sometimes prohibitively high. And that's starting to come down right now, right? So what would a typical person, if, for example, we just did a snapshot of this and we want to minting means, kind of making it official, right?
Yeah.
Almost like printing
Publishing,
in
it's
the
like
real world.
another, yeah, like a publishing this onto, onto a piece of paper, right?
Yeah.
Or similar to the idea. But
Yeah. So what does it cost nowadays to do that?
so we got to unpack that a little bit, and really is just considering where you're minting it on, right? If you're minting it on Ethereum, every transaction in Ethereum, be it I send you money or I launch a decentralized application, right? It requires gas, and gas is just a portion of Ethereum that's accompanying that transaction that you're sending to the network. And basically, what that
The
does
cost. Yeah.
in a very simple way, is that there's only so much computer power that's out there, right? And so, if I want to send it, that network of nodes of people like you would be a node. Before you accept that transaction or do something with it, you got to check with the node. You got to use your computer's resources to actually execute the code
Hmm.
that is being run on that smart contract or that piece of code,
Yeah. To verify its validity.
to verify it or to actually run the software, right? Unlike
Mm.
Bitcoin, you're running software, you're running a computation,
Right.
subtract this amount from that amount, send it here, take a state of something. Is it true or false? Like those are all
Yeah.
computational things. And so basically when you do that, there's only so much power that's out there, and there's only so much throughput that Ethereum provides. And so
Hmm.
you're basically paying gas to get in the front of the line, right? You're getting to the front of the line
Um,
because those miners as a protocol are saying, okay, who's paying the most, right?
yeah.
To get in the front of the mind to run that transaction. So those things have changed. They're constantly changing and improving. Just recently, Ethereum did something to improve it, or for it to have a little bit more consistency of knowing what to pay and how much to pay. But
Hmm.
depending on the congestion of how many people are doing it, if there was an NFT that was getting launched and there's 10,000 people trying to get that NFT, the gas costs are going to be quite high, and it could be range from 50 to $300 or $400 to actually make a transaction. However, been a lot of other blockchains like Polygon, Algorand, even Stacks, which is a Bitcoin based type of smart contract blockchain that has increased the throughput and reduced the cost. So where I could probably mint something on Ethereum and may cost me $50 or 100 or $200 on Polygon, for example, it may cost me a cent. As an
Mm.
So
And
there
is
are
there a difference in the output of what you get, or is it verified the same? It's just a different path to get
same
there.
verification, just different mechanisms for verification. Ethereum uses a proof of work, meaning like computers are like running these transactions, and Polygon uses an idea of proof of stake, slightly little bit less secure. These are just conversations we're not going to get into here, but is not as secure as millions of nodes kind of running these transactions and securing the network.
Yeah.
But yeah, there should be no difference. The idea of smart contracts, the programmatic way of doing it, started by Ethereum, has been adopted by all these other platforms to utilize.
So let's say you've created a piece of content that, and it doesn't have to be a picture; it could be a video, right? So
Mhm.
let's say you created a piece of content on Instagram a year ago, and it went viral. It went, it did really, really well, or TikTok or whatever. They can essentially take that, mint it, right? Create the NFT out
Could.
of that video.
They shouldn't, but they could. They could if they wanted to. But
The original creator of that.
well, you say Instagram. If we go into that nuance, right? They own or they have the video file. If they had some kind of minting opportunity, there would be a way for you as the creator to do something with it. But in that example, you would take that video or that picture that I shot the night before Ethereum, and basically take that and mint it somewhere, either custom code or platforms like OpenSea or Rarible allow you. They have the mechanisms in a kind of a user friendly way, something that anybody would be familiar with, browse to upload an image, title it,
Yeah.
and then submit to mint the NFT and then put it for sale if you wanted to.
Yeah. So, for example, the guy that did the skateboard video on Instagram that went viral. Remember
Hmm.
he can
Yeah.
take that and put it out there and actually sell it as an NFT and probably make a lot of money from it.
So there was actually I forgot exactly what the content was, but there was some content on YouTube that was very viral. And what the person did was they sold the original video as an NFT. But what they promised is that they would take down the video from YouTube, like delete it from their account, and allow the new holder to then put it on
Mm,
their account. And that way, that value of 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 that virality, I don't even know the word.
virality. Yeah.
It could become, which was we already knew it was viral. Now it can be, with this other person. So in that case, they actually deleted it, so it would be unique, right? And then the owner
Mm,
would be the one that was able to put it somewhere. Because one thing to note is that just because you created an image doesn't mean, or just because you can right click and save a JPEG doesn't necessarily give you the rights to that creation, right? You creating this video, you are the rights holder to this game changers content, right? You're the one that's the creation of it. If I created a design and sold it to someone, technically I'm still the rights owner. I'm just giving them the rights to use it for their logo or for a website, or they hire
unless you transfer the rights over that
a
you
whole
said this is
that
yours. Yeah.
work for
Okay.
hire type agreement where I'm transferring the whole rights to that individual, right? But that's a different story, right? Just the NFT itself does not transfer rights. So, but
Mm,
case that we were talking about with this YouTube,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Interesting. So now, so it's Hispanic Heritage Month out there, and NFTs in Latin America, in especially in Cuba, Venezuela, and some of these other countries where perhaps they haven't had the ability to have open and free markets to buy and sell things and sell their art. This has created like a great new um, pathway for them to sell that bypasses the government control. Right? Tell me about what's going on in that space.
so what's interesting is, let's talk about Cuba because that's the one I'm most familiar with and what I've been playing with and
Mhm.
helping with. Anybody could buy art from Cuba. Like that was actually one of the things that you're allowed to do, even with the embargo.
Mm.
You can buy art. You can even hire people to do stuff for you, just like Senator Rubio would always talk about in his speeches. He would say you can already hire people and do stuff, but it's not very clear how you do that.
Yeah.
And specifically with art, most people would go to the island, buy a piece of art. The government would have to certify that it was actually a Cuban artist because there was a lot of fraud and whatnot. But think about the pandemic, right? We're
Mm.
in lockdown. Tourism has gone to nothing, and Cuba's main information, main means of commerce was tourism. And so you have these tourists coming in, buying art, buying goods, and buying things, and taking them with them. But if you don't have that foot traffic going in there, what are they doing? They can't. And so in May of this year, I was in a clubhouse, and somebody was talking about stuff about NFTs, and I was talking. Somebody later reached out to me. I started following them. There were a Miami person who was an architect living in LA, and I saw he posted something about that he was very emotional because there was someone that he had heard on Clubhouse saying that he didn't have Ethereum and that was able to mint his first NFT. Like I said, you have to have Ethereum to mint and do all those things. And that someone through Clubhouse actually sent him enough Ethereum to mint his first.
Wow.
Really kind of got me very excited. I tracked him down on Twitter. His name is Gabriel Bianchini. And as I was inspecting his stuff, I realized that NFT that he minted was actually purchased by the head of Google for Cuba, which was,
Oh my gosh.
kind of interesting, right? First of all, I didn't even know there was a Google Cuba.
Yeah.
But through that interaction and then retweeting the fact that I found him and like, wow, this is like, taking that comment that I made before of like how Ethereum would help the country where my parents are from, it just like came full circle. So i
Mhm.
i purchased the second one, and we actually had the opportunity to have a conversation through Discord. I had never spoken to anybody in Cuba. My parents are Cuban and
Wow.
family there or whatnot. And so I was able to speak with him. He's very charismatic. We had just a very, emotional conversation, a conversation that would last for a couple months, where it was really conflicting with my own views of what Cuba was and how
Wow.
live in Cuba and whatnot. And what happened from that is that he introduced me to these Telegram groups where there were other Cubans that were trying to do NFTs, and do their art, and as well as tech people in Cuba, like this one group called Bache Cubano, which is run by this guy named Erich, who has a YouTube channel, has like 50,000 followers, Cuban followers. That he talks.
Really? I didn't even know they had
I didn't realize it either, but it was just like mind blowing that these things were occurring. And so through him, I just like, how can I help these people? Like, and so I can speak Spanish, I can listen to Spanish, I can read Spanish, but my typing wasn't great. But I had to like hustle on Telegram with Google Translate and my own broken Spanish and just give them advice and help them mint and just do all the things that I could do, make sure that they weren't hitting any obstacles. And during that time, I thought, what else can I do to help them? So I bought a domain called nftcuba.art and I launched it. I kind of put it as a place for them to find these different chat channels. And I thought, what else can I do? I was thinking, well, it would be great if I could mint for them, but that was too challenging. And so I got on the chats and asked, what do you think? What do you think is a symbol that really represents Cubans worldwide? And it kept on resurging, La Cafetera, the mocha, the Italian mocha pot that people used to make espresso. The Cubans wake up, having our cafecito with that espresso machine. And so I was introduced to this one artist. He goes by Paulo De, like Paulo De Instagram, Paulo De Twitter.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
He's a De, right? And so he designed a cafetera, which was literally like, it looked like a moonshine stein with these tubes. And it was very slightly political because he also had this little container that had olives that was mixing in with the coffee, because the coffee in Cuba is not potent because it's mixed with because they don't have coffee.
Right.
It was basically a jet that was trying to get fuel from the coffee, and it would like get fueled and then drop back down because it didn't have enough fuel to keep moving.
Yeah.
And so we launched that one. It sold, and right now, after months of doing this, I've done the 10th cafetera. The last one was really beautiful. It was this really fantastic photographer who had the Cuban flag, and she was just kind of like on a desk, and she was sipping her coffee, and it was very emotional. She had brought a collaborator to do the music, and so that whole thing has become a very powerful cry to like, here they are, here's how talented they are, and you can buy their NFTs. And so now on the website, I have listed more than 66 Cuban artists that are minting NFTs. Many of them are also selling NFTs. Some of them have become actually quite successful, quite wealthy with crypto. Unfortunately, there's not a lot they can do in Cuba with that crypto, but it's crypto that they own in a sovereign sense with their own wallet. So if they ever get to leave the country or someone comes in, they can exchange it for other goods, just like I exchange it for a gift card at some point. They'll have those opportunities as well. So it's just been an amazing journey with NFTcuba.art, and the community that's formed around it is just really powerful.
That's fantastic. Well, this has been a really, really insightful conversation. I hope this has helped you guys that are out there listening into the space, because we really are at the forefront. We're in the early AOL type years when it comes to this, and there's so much more opportunity out there, not only with art as a non-fungible token, but as far as the imagination can go, right? There's going to be a lot more type of properties and digital assets that you're able to create. And as we move on, we're becoming more of an economy within ourselves, because we're selling our ideas in digital format, which can be very powerful. And that ownership will never go away. It will always be on the blockchain. It can never be disputed. So Very powerful stuff. So Gianni, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find out more about you? What's the best way?
Perfect. Before I end with my contact information, I just want to let everybody know that's watching is like I do believe that NFTs will be part of our lives moving forward. Every single digital asset, be it an audio file, document, an image, will be some form or another of NFTs. You know, we're gonna see it. You're gonna get to a point where you take out your phone and you take a picture, and that picture is gonna be wrapped in an NFC, right? And we're gonna know that Gianni was the one that created it. And if somebody and the news wanted to use it, I can send them the NFT or rights to
Yeah.
use the NFT, and they'll pay me, you know, with
Right.
some weird crypto for that right. But as far as people how they can find me, it's my name, Gianni D'Alerta, GIANNI DALERTA, everywhere. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over with that handle. I don't hide. And then the Cuban project is NFT Cuba, NFTcuba.art or NFT Cuba Art on all the social platforms if they want to find more information about that.
Awesome. Fantastic. So guys, also the Game Changers Challenge is coming up November 1st. If you want to create some amazing habits, open up your mindset, you can do it with your friends and family. It's a 30-day challenge. It's absolutely powerful. It's going to change your life. You can sign up on sergiotijera.com. You can check it out. Gianni, thank you so much, brother, for being on the show. Thanks for representing with your swag. We got it here going on, and we'll see you soon, guys. Take care.
If you loved what you heard in today's episode of Game Changers, please subscribe and rate us. The lessons and the stories in these podcasts are immensely valuable, so I invite you to share them with a friend who needs to hear it. You may end up being the game changer in their lives.